Under the dazzling lights of the MGM National Harbor, the arena was alive with electricity, pulsing with the raw energy of thousands of boxing faithful who had gathered to witness the rise of a new force in the light heavyweight division. The booming roars of the crowd echoed through the rafters, lights flickered like lightning over the squared circle. And in the center of it all stood a man destined for greatness, Dmitry Bivol, calm, measured, stone-faced. He moved like a silent storm, his gloves resting against his chest with icy precision. Across from him, Samuel the main event Clarkson paced with nervous bravado, swinging his arms loose, shaking his shoulders, trying to ignore the chill of reality settling into his spine. He was a fighter with heart, with grit, with dreams, but tonight he was standing across from something different. This wasn't just a fighter. This was a machine designed for domination. The bell hadn't even rung, yet the air already felt like it belonged to Bivol. The referee's last words, "Protect yourself at all times," echoed like a prophecy. The crowd quieted, breath held in anticipation. The bell rang, and just like that, the storm began to move. From the very first jab, Bivol's strategy was clear: control, precision, dominance. He didn't rush, didn't brawl. He analyzed. Every feint, every subtle shift in Clarkson's stance was recorded in his mind like a chess grandmaster mapping his opponent's every move. Clarkson tried to push forward, to set a tone of aggression, but Bivol met him with a stiff, snapping jab that stopped him in his tracks. Then another, and another. Each punch wasn't thrown with reckless power. It was delivered like an arrow, straight, precise, purposeful. Clarkson felt the sting, not just on his skin, but in his confidence. Bivol wasn't just reacting, he was dictating. Then came the first right hand, sharp, straight, surgical. Clarkson's legs shivered ever so slightly. He blinked. The commentators felt it. The fans saw it. The room knew it. Clarkson had been touched by something different. Bivol followed with a combination jab, straight, hook, each punch flowing like water, striking like iron. Clarkson stumbled back into the ropes, blinking through the fog, trying to convince his legs to stabilize. But Bivol could smell it. The damage, the doubt. He didn't rush. He stepped forward, calm like a surgeon, and began dissecting his opponent. Clarkson needed to survive, but Bivol wasn't offering survival. He was offering lessons. He pinned Clarkson into the ropes, placing punches with brutal elegance, mixing hooks to the ribs with sharp straights to the chin. The crowd gasped as one right hand echoed through the arena like a cracking whip. Clarkson's head snapped back, and his legs lost their rhythm, wobbling awkwardly beneath him. Down he went, crashing to the canvas, staring up at the unforgiving glare of the lights. The referee moved in, counting 4, 5, 6. Clarkson blinked, shook his head, and rose. His pride wouldn't let him stay down. But Bivol wasn't just beating him physically. He was breaking down his timing, his rhythm, his spirit. There was no panic in Bivol, no wasted energy. His feet glided subtlety across the canvas, always in control, angles perfection, distance mastered. He didn't swing wildly. He didn't chase. He stalked, calculated, executed. Clarkson threw a desperate jab. Bivol slipped outside effortlessly, returned fire with a right hand so clean, so accurate, that Clarkson didn't even fall. He froze. He wobbled, disoriented, like his body had forgotten how to react. Another right hand, then another. Clarkson slumped against the ropes, barely holding on. By round 2, the pattern was set, not just in action, but in psychology. Bivol was no longer just fighting. He was teaching. He controlled pace like an artist controls brushstrokes. Clarkson tried to move, tried to box, tried to pivot away like his corner screamed, but every attempt was cut off. Bivol didn't chase. He guided him, cornered him, drew him into space, then punished the mistakes with merciless efficiency. Clarkson's face began to tell the story. swelling around the eyes, reddening around the cheeks, bruising along the ribs. The commentators could only marvel. "He's so balanced, so composed," they whispered. Even in attack, Bivol never lost his shape. His guard remained tight, elbows tucked, chin down, posture perfect. He was hurting Clarkson while looking untouched himself. Clarkson tried holding, Bivol made space. Clarkson tried trading, Bivol made him pay. Clarkson tried retreating, Bivol cut the ring in half. The crowd wasn't just impressed. They were witnessing the rise of a master. In round 3, Bivol's accuracy grew even sharper. It was no longer a fight, it was a clinic. He wasn't throwing dozens of punches. He didn't need to. Every shot mattered. Every jab disrupted rhythm. Every right hand sent shockwaves through Clarkson's confidence. His corner yelled at him to move his head, to throw combinations, to show something. But Clarkson's body wasn't listening. His feet felt stuck, his guard too slow, his responses too delayed. Bivol began mixing up levels, stiff jabs to the face, slicing right hands to the chin, and then, suddenly, a thundering right hand to the body. Clarkson groaned, his breath stolen. The punch didn't just hurt, it changed him. He backed into the ropes again, folded his guard, trying desperately to protect his head. But that only exposed his ribs, his stomach, his lungs. Bivol saw it. He went to work. Jab high, hook low, straight to the head, rip to the body. Clarkson's expression showed it all. Pain, frustration, disbelief. But he wouldn't back down. His heart was strong. His resistance, however, was fading. Round 4 was not a question of if Bivol would finish. It was when. Clarkson tried to recover, tried to push forward at the start of the round, throwing a defiant jab, followed by a right hand. It landed. The crowd roared. Bivol felt it, but didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped into range, reset his stance, and returned fire with something Clarkson couldn't match: timing. His right hand landed like lightning. Clarkson's legs gave out beneath him again. Down he went. This time, when he rose, his eyes were distant, his feet unsteady, his arms slow to lift. The referee looked at him closely, suspicion in his stare. The fight continued, but only briefly. Bivol cornered him again. Clarkson threw a final desperate punch, but Bivol beat him to it, landing a devastating right hand directly to the temple. Clarkson didn't just fall, he walked into collapse. His legs folded, his arms dangling, his balance evaporated. The referee waved it off. It was over. At 1 minute and 40 seconds of round 4, the referee stepped in, arms stretched wide, ending the night. The crowd erupted, some in shock, most in awe. Dmitry Bivol had not just defended his interim WBA light heavyweight title. He had announced himself as something more. Not just a puncher, not just a technician, but a rising master of boxing's highest craft. His hands were raised, but his expression was unchanged. Samuel Clarkson stood across from him, not defeated in spirit, but overwhelmed in every other sense. He had come with ambition, with belief, with hope. He left humbled, but not disgraced. Because tonight, he didn't lose to just a fighter. He lost to a phenomenon in progress. The commentary team summed it up best. He's not just strong. He's smart. He's precise. He's a problem for anyone in this division. Bivol walked back to his corner, gloves still raised, eyes calm, mind sharp, knowing this was just one chapter of a much bigger story. And so, in the heart of the arena, under lights that shine brightest for greatness, the world witnessed not just a victory, but the continued rise of a champion in the making. Dmitry Bivol, unbeaten, unshaken, unstoppable.